What's up, y'all? This is Patrick Hayes. Today what I want to talk about is polarized thinking, black and white thinking, and how black and white thinking really is a way of dividing ourselves and conquering ourselves. Not only that, the agenda of divide and conquer. Now, whether you're a conspiracy theorist or not, that term divide and conquer we're all familiar with because it is a form of manipulation that is used in top-down domination hierarchies, right? And when people are divided, they're more easily conquered. This also works on the micro scale too, meaning the more divided we are within ourselves, the more easily we are conquered as individuals. So I want to talk a little bit about black and white thinking, how this correlates to divide and conquer, and I want to give some solutions for how to overcome black and white thinking within yourself. So the first thing I want to talk about is the different really common ways that black and white thinking is perpetuated within our culture. One of these ways is through the idea of, whether liking somebody or disliking somebody. There's a lot of momentum in society and just in the culture for humans to come to an agreement about another person. Oh, I like that person. I really like them. Or I really don't like that person. And when they come to the idea that they don't like someone, then they typically cut off any benefit that that person has. Like, in other words, they see them in a totally black and white frame. That person, there's nothing valuable that person has, and I don't want to listen to anything they say. You see this a lot when maybe you have a friend where you've tried to show them some information from, your favorite lecturer or scientist or, just some sort of thing you're trying to share with somebody, maybe a musician, and that person's like, I don't like that person. And because they don't like that person, it's like they're saying, well, I don't want to listen to anything they have to say. There's nothing they have is valuable, and I'm not interested whatsoever. Now, this kind of mentality is just silly when you really think about it, because everybody's got something valuable to share. Even if maybe you don't agree with what they're saying, it at least gives you some insight onto maybe the psychology of people that you disagree with. I mean, there's something there for you. So putting something in the frame of like, oh, I don't like that person, therefore everything they're saying is out the window, not interested in it, is a really good way of keeping yourself trapped inside a box. Because oftentimes those things that we need to learn the most are in the places that we don't want to look. So I think it's really important for us to be aware that even if we don't like someone, even if something irks us a little bit, there might be some information within that person, or within, this could be with a philosophy, this could be with a certain teaching, this could be with a lot of different things. There may be something within that sphere that we don't like that's actually really valuable. And we have to explore that and be willing to look at it in order for us to extract the value from it. Okay, so another place that black and white thinking comes into play really commonly is in this idea of good guys and bad guys. Like, we can kill all these people because they're the bad guys, right? You see how war is really built off of this. War propaganda is a great example of how good guy, bad guy mentality can be broadcast to people and then can create the opportunity for people to justify horrendous behavior, genocide, all sorts of terrible things. This all comes from this black and white frame of good guy, bad guy, right? Because the truth of the matter is it's more complex than that. There are some good aspects, some bad aspects of everybody and everything. And it's important for us to be able to see that gray area. Because when a gray area is overlooked by a movement, this is another thing. We can become polarized and attached to one side of any movement 100%. Because what happens here is this creates the opportunity for manipulative powers to take advantage of people. Because think about this. If a certain agenda and the people pushing that agenda are aware that there's a whole bunch of people that are really strongly polarized towards one opinion on a specific topic, then it's really easy for them to kind of move those people around, because they know that any sort of media or promotion that they put out that is for whatever it is that these people are for, these people are going to flock to it and they're going to support it. But if it's against that, then they're going to oppose it and be angry about it and speak badly about it, right? So it's really easy for them to then sneak in kind of gray areas that might not actually be in alignment with what these people, with what the slogan is, with what these people are identifying with, and still have all these people supporting it. And you see this done when people are passing when politicians are passing bills or creating new laws, or a lot of things are where people are being manipulated by their polarized thinking to support something that they don't actually truly support and wouldn't support if they looked into the gray area. So this is another example of how, and this is how divide and conquer works, or one of the ways that divide and conquer works. It's how do we polarize people on two different ends of the spectrum and then push them around to make them do whatever we want them to do by playing with those generalized or low resolution slogans that they're attached to. And we can basically make them vote this way or vote that way, or push them towards this idea or that idea, because we know that they're highly polarized and they're not really looking at the gray area. So as long as we encompass something into a really simple slogan that people will have a strong charge or of opposition or magnetization towards, it's really easy to move people around, right? So this comes back to the gray area, looking at the gray area. So this is something that crosses into a lot of different spectrums, right? And it's something that is far beyond, just each one of these categories. But it's the underlying current of polarized thinking, the underlying current of black and white thinking, right? So how do we approach things in a way that helps us overcome this black and white thinking so we can see things for more accurately, right? And this is basically simply just making the intention within ourselves that when we approach life in general, with everything that we're looking at, that we're not here to make an opinion on whether we like things as a whole or dislike things, but rather we're trying to look into the depth of everything and note the positives and negatives, or the things that we resonate or don't resonate within each little thing, right? So good practice is looking at those things that we dislike, generally that we're like, no, I don't like that, and trying to find some redeeming qualities about those things, trying to find those aspects of that we do appreciate, trying to find the gold that is hidden within our judgments, right? Where is there something beautiful in there that I'm not noticing? And start to give it credit in those areas where it really does have something redeeming. And on the flip side, for those things that we really do like, those people that we really do like, for those things that we really stand behind that we think are great, look for the flaws in those things. Look for those areas that, I don't really resonate with that aspect of it. Like, I like all these things, but this one thing kind of irks me a little bit and rubs me the wrong way. And start to own that. Be willing to look at it that way. See, now a lot of the reason why people won't do that, especially with the things that they do like, is because it's a lot easier to just believe in something 100% or love, like a person 100%. It's like, I really like this activist or this actor or this politician or whatever it is. I really like them. I really resonate with them. So I'm just going to take everything they say as good. And that makes things really simple, right? Because you don't have to face that cognitive dissonance, where well, I like all this, but this thing kind of doesn't make me feel good. It's easier to just be like, well, I don't need to think about it. Let me just go with it 100%, right? Same thing with the negative. It's like, well, I just don't like that. I don't even need to address it. I don't even need to think about it. I can just be like, this is not important, and keep it off my radar. But what that does is that divides us internally. It divides us from our true opinions, and it divides us from the deeper discernment that's necessary to create the kind of clarity that we need to make good decisions. So, I encourage you to employ those practices. Looking at the things you don't like and finding the things that you do like about it. And looking at the things that you do like and finding those things that you don't like about it. And start to develop a more complex analysis of your reality so that you can start clarifying and undividing those aspects of your internal space that have kept you from being able to clearly see the reality. So, thanks so much for tuning in. This is Patrick Hayes. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll talk to you next time. One love.